It's too much.
Welcome home, Mud.
Welcome home.
Welcome home. Welcome home.
She ain't trapping.
He don't know it yet.
No, he don't.
Yes, I do.
Yes,
Yes, I do. Yeah.
he knows he got it.
Let's take one more for the road test.
See what I mean? See what I mean?
Introducing gangsta. Well, alright. Where your ass was at when I did them 21 years? Where your ass was at when I shedded all them tears? Where your ass was at when your boy was released? And they waving like parades when they see the G free. After all that time, my God, I'm free. Could've been a drug lord, I am pushing keys. God bless me unconditionally. And now you get to see the G free. Got my ass up out the pen, now it's time to win. Had a plan to get the millions, didn't need no friends. Then let's let the game begin, niggas dropping salt. I'm like, ho, stop, why the fuck you popping off? I don't know none of you niggas, I don't owe none of you niggas. Boy, I swear I wonder where they grow some of you niggas. I am only here just to show some of you niggas. Got my own business, about to show some of you niggas. Paper chase so Usher, I say on the run for money. Niggas laugh at a nigga like I'm something funny. But my digits looking like I'm running numbers. And I'm loving it, my nigga like McDonald's. See the G-free, boy, I'm fresher than a peppermint. I am the owner, CEO, and president. Girl choosing cause a real nigga be a preference. Man hating cause the G been on our mind ever since. But my nigga, that's irrelevant. My talent and my conversation, boy, I'm out here selling it. Come on, say money to my niggas, I be militant. Riding through the city by myself, getting hella bent. Boy, I am a G. If I ain't what I is, then why can't I be? Live by the G code, but it's plain to see that I be's what I be, and there ain't no changing me. So I'm out here chasing cheddar, 2 racks on a sweater, riding acapella, boy, I swear I'm living better. Moving like you Stella, baby, I can change the weather. Acting like you yellow, only I want you cause you yellow. Hey. Go back to that paper though, my money steady growing and it still got a ways to grow. I just had to find an account a few days ago. That life is a bitch, but I'm not about to change, so don't change. So bad it white, baby girl, tonight's the night. I chose you out the crowd, like the price is right. Never met a gangster, well, hey, you might tonight. These other niggas sweet like a pack of Ike and Mike. Hey. But my nigga, that ain't funny. I just sent word to a nigga about that money. Shooters on deck, case it go to acting funny. Everything good, so now it's back to stunning. I bang on these niggas like a gang on these niggas. Disrespect the church, quack gon' sang on these niggas. Sucking up this money like a fang on these niggas. I'm a rock star, Coco bang on these niggas. What you talking, guys? And this is the beginning. A pity that they hate it when they see you out here winning. I can see right through these niggas like some glass. So don't be surprised when I ask where your ass was at when I did them 21 years. Where your ass was at when I shedded all them tears. Where your ass was at when your boy was released. And they waving like parades when they see the G free. And after all that time, my God, I'm free. Could've been a drug lord, out here pushing keys. God bless me unconditionally. And now you get to see the G free. Hey, well, alright. Wow, it has been a year now, and it's crazy what has all transpired within this year. While everybody was focused on Trump's agenda and the normal issues of this world, I was trying to get adjusted to being a free man. You might ask what I mean by getting used to being free. Well, I had been locked up half my life, literally, and I'm 43 years old now. I was sentenced to serve 111 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. I was expecting to die in prison. When I stepped out those gates on May 25th of 2018, after 21 years and 9 months straight prison time, I stepped into a whole new world, a whole new life. I had God, a plan, and a wife. I had been preparing for this day for 2 years. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ernest Brown, a.k.a. Munt, a.k.a. Gangsta. Let me give you a quick visual of my past life and how I ended up with a 111-year sentence. And done it. Just to tell you all about it.
Nephew, how you feeling?
Good, I almost kissed my I'm feeling good. Hey, man. Over.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Auntie, it's
Nephew.
over. Yeah.
In black clothes.
Look at them together. Yeah.
Yes.
Y'all getting in the back, man. Y'all getting in the back.
Yeah, y'all getting in the back.
Come on, y'all. Oh, thank you, Jesus.
I'm originally from a small Arkansas town called Humphrey. My mom and dad had it going on. My dad was a carpenter and a preacher, and my mom was an amazing gospel singer. She had a voice out of this world. Her and my dad ended up having 6 kids together, with me being the youngest. Somehow my dad and mom split when I was around 5 years old, and I ended up with my mama and my youngest sister in this new town, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. From there, my mom's health went down and I became her caretaker. While my other brothers and sisters were going through early adulthood, me and my youngest sister Rapunzel were the only ones around my mama during my early childhood, with me being my mother's age. My mother hated my dad, and I looked at and acted just like him. My mother made me very serious at a young age. I was 7 years old. My mama would have a serious talk to me about women as if we was both grown. She always treated me like I was grown. At the same time, I was responsible for cooking the food, bathing her, and getting our meals together. To my family, I was a quiet, smart, and odd kid who loved his mother. My mother was a diabetic and had high blood pressure and a bone disease called multiple sclerosis. Some days she would be up and feeling good, and then the next she could be taking one of her many trips to the ER. My mother could be hauled off at any time because she had unhealthy eating habits, nor did she work out. The city of Pine Bluff was big to us compared to where we had came from. And the city of Pine Bluff also had a dark side to it. Its crime rate, in which was in a race with its poverty rate, and where murder was an epidemic.
Good evening. Drive-by shootings in Pine Bluff rising at an alarming rate. Police report 14 drive-bys.
And if they ask you who I am, tell them I'm the 1985 Michael Jackson in his prime. Go from Pine Bluff where the crime's up, you disrespect, your time's up. We used to be in lineups, your best bet, never mind us. I started seeing trouble at the age of 14. I started running with this neighborhood kid named Shamar, who was from Milwaukee, and he introduced me to stealing. I went from stealing out of grocery stores to sneaking out at night and stealing cars and driving them all through the night, since I had to be with my mama all day. I had become obsessed with the night, the serenity of it. Taking care of my mama in school was a lot on me, I think, because I started straying away from school. Running the streets at night by myself was more alluring. I wasn't a very popular kid in school due to my quietness, but I had friends, mainly females, because I was the cool, funny kid you could talk to. By 15, I had a reputation for stealing and could steal anything you wanted, from a piece of candy to a house full of furniture. I had driven more stolen cars than I could count and knew the streets of Pine Bluff like the back of my hand. I had been in high-speed chases and had gotten away because there was no way I was getting arrested and risk my cover being blown and risk my freedom of the night. No. So here I was, a 15-year-old outrunning Pine Bluff police, not once but several times. Also, at 15, something happened to me that would change my life forever.
The Gangster Disciples definitely, were looking to branch out, and definitely did branch out to other cities. And they would send individuals, from Chicago to go set up an operation into other areas, other cities.
The Gangster Disciple organization out of Chicago, better known as GD, we also call it Folks. We also refer to it as the Nation. It had made it to Pine Bluff in 1985, and by 1990 it was full-fledged. As a matter of fact, my friend Shamar was already GD, being that he was from Milwaukee. At the age of 15, I joined, and I went from being a thief to a gang member. And because of my driving skills, I was involved in a lot of robberies, pawn shops, gambling houses, hustlers. No one was safe. We were all across the city robbing, and we were gang banging. The GDs threw a lot of parties back then, and the G Queens would be at these parties. And here it was that I liked to rap. It was at these parties where I linked up with 2 other gangsters, and they also liked to rap, you know what I'm saying? We instantly clicked, and we formed a group. No one took rap serious in Pine Bluff to provide us with studio time, so we decided to build our own. So we broke into a bunch of pawn shops and nightclubs and stole all the equipment we needed to build our own studio, and we put it in my mama's garage. To my family, I was Lamont, the quiet, funny kid that loved his mama. But in the streets of Pine Bluff, I was Gangsta Mutt. My family had no idea I had been involved in drive-bys, shootings, robberies. The streets of Pine Bluff had turned me out. Now, mind you, I was in this rap group, and it was 2 other members, and one of the members had got caught up in a string of robberies, and he told about the studio, you know, and so police raided my studio, man, in my mother's garage, and they gave me a charge for each piece of equipment that I had. So I had like 20-something felonies, you know what I'm saying? And because they gave me a charge for each piece of the equipment. And so I ended up having to get a lawyer and, you know, getting the felonies down. I got the felonies down to like 3 theft of properties and like 3 breaking and enterings and 4 theft of properties. And I ended up with a 5-year sentence in the Arkansas Department of Correction. And I had an act called 378, which means I would do 4 months to come home if I stayed out of trouble. Now, mind you, they done sent me to the worst prison in Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? Called Varner Unit, which was Gladiator School at the time. So, yeah, you know. And I ended up going down there doing my time, man, doing 4 months. I luckily made it out, you know what I'm saying, without any trouble, though we fought every day. I mean, stabbings and everything, rapings and all this stuff was every day. But God had his hands over me and I made it out 4 months, you know what I'm saying? And if they ask you who I am, tell them. I got out of prison and had a rep now. I had survived the worst prison in Arkansas without any problems and did my time and came home. My mama was relieved that her caretaker was back home. I was considered seasoned in the streets though. I went and did my time and came home to a big welcome from the gangsters. The gangsters were selling drugs now, weed and crack cocaine. A guy named Nation, who was actually in the rap group with me, introduced me to the dope game. In the 4 months I had been in the pen, the dope game had became their thing. There was no more robbing and drive-bys, no more shooting. The gangbanging was over with. It was dope game. Everybody was strictly about their money now. I immediately learned the game and instantly became a drug dealer. I had a part-time job at a grocery store and quit as soon as I got my first check. I was trying to sneak money in my mama's purse, but she wouldn't have it. She said she didn't want none of that. That was devil money. Due to my past reputation and me surviving Varner, I earned a lot of respect from the older ranking members of the organization. I moved up in rank to the point they would let me run some of the dope spots. The streets also gave respect where it was due. In 1994, I was hustling and trying to take care of my mama. Her condition was getting worse and it required a lot of attention. So rapping was on hold for a while. I eventually got back in the streets and linked up with this guy named Tron. Tron was a gangster that I knew before I had went to prison. So we was just linking back up on some old times. Me and Tron got back cool and Tron had a lot of girlfriends. You know, he especially liked the white girls. So he had this one specific white girl and I was like, man, they argued all the time and he would take his stuff from her when they break up. One morning, Tron calls me and was like, come get me. And he was at a gas station. So I jumps out to be with my girlfriend. I run up to the gas station to get him. He tells me to take him by, one of his girlfriend's house, So I do. And we get there and, I think that's the biggest mistake I made, taking him back to that house. Now, this is the place of residence that I caught my charge, and I was telling you about the guy named Tron that I linked up with. He was like, he called his girlfriend. It's like, man, he called me early this morning. I was in the house with my girl, and he was like, come pick me up, come get my stuff from my girl house. So this ended up being his girl house. When we get here, he tell me there was a car in the garage right here. There was a car in the garage right here. This is the house. And there was a car in the garage. So he told me to park right here, pull over here in the neighbor's house. So I pull up right there, boom, pull in the garage. He walk over here, go to the house. He evidently used his key, went in the front door, come in the house. I sit in the car. The neighbors come out in the garage, in the house over here.
Right.
They asked me, what you doing in the garage? I'm like, hey, my friend over there getting this stuff. He done broke up with his girlfriend. She's like, she's not home. I know who stays there. I'm calling the police. I'm like, okay, I sit in the car. So boom, Tron comes out of the house with a box. You know what I'm saying? They got his little items in there. You know, a little boom box. It's just a little box. Boom, we leave. Next day, my parole officer called me. Told me to come down now. I get up, go down now. And then he takes a picture of me, leaves out the room, show it to somebody, come back and says, you've been identified in a burglary. That's how he ended up catching my charge. A burglary charge. It ended up turning into a 111-year sentence.
So how did a burglary charge turn into, because I know a lot of guys that been, to prison for burglary, several times though. I mean, time after time after time for the same charge, burglary.
This was the thing with me. I had like 6 prior breaking and entering and theft of property charges from a prior incident that I had already been to prison for.
But you had no violent charges though?
No violent charges. But this is the thing. By me having the 6 prior charges, it gives me the Habitual Offender Act. Because the Habitual Offender Act, you have 4 prior felonies or more, you automatically classify as an habitual offender. And I had already had some 6 prior breaking and enterings and theft of properties. So when I took the stand, that was my mistake. I did the biggest thing you can ever do. I took the stand. You know what I'm saying? I knew I wasn't guilty of that charge, but if I let my lawyer fight into the jury, and if I don't take the stand, then I would have had a chance, but I took the stand, and it allowed the prosecutor to bring up my past history. And so as a jury trial, I got a burglary charge, and my past criminal history shows nothing but burglaries, then I'm automatically guilty. And they gave me the maximum sentence on it, which was 30 years. The sentence carried 5 to 20, but with the Habitual Offender Act, it enhanced it to 20 to 30. And they gave me the maximum sentence of 30.
So how did the 111 years?
Because after that, they sent me once. At the time, just like now, the murder rate was high in Pine Bluff. So they had these contracts with other jails and other counties. So they sent me and this other little guy that was 17, me and this guy named Philip Bentley. They sent us to an all-white county up in Mountain View, Arkansas. I somehow caught a 30-year sentence for burglary in my hometown. Then I was taken directly to Mountain View, Arkansas. Now mind you, there are no blacks here. Never have, never will. Mountain View is 11 miles from Harrison, Arkansas, which is rumored to be the KKK headquarters. I immediately began to experience racism. They would put X-Lax in our food. They would freeze us in our cells at night. So me and this other black guy, which was really me and him was the only 2 black guys up here at the time. His name was Philip. We escaped, stole the car, and made it back to Pine Bluff, but ended up getting caught the next day. Now, being that we had charges in Mountain View from escaping and stealing that car, they came and got us from the prison to prosecute us down there. And being that Mountain View was so far from the prison, they refused to drive back and forth and kept us up there. And the racism immediately started back, which led to us fighting with the jailer, which led to me and Philip beating the fuck out of him and escaping again. We ended up hiding in the garage for a whole day and ended up stealing another car. And we made it all the way back to Little Rock. And I ended up making a wrong turn, which ended up with a state trooper behind me. Shit. I mashed on the gas, doing 100 on the freeway. Easy. The Trump, they shot the gas tank, they shot up the muffin. I ended up turning down this street called Roosevelt. So now I'm having a high-speed chase down Roosevelt Road. I'm talking about I'm doing 90 up to 100 down Roosevelt, man. This place, this is like hills and shit. I'm jumping in the air like Deuce of Hazzard, man. Real talk. Shit. Police shot the car up so bad, we ended up making a wrong turn and turned into the state trooper headquarters. More polices. Real talk. How bad could our luck be? We running from the police and ran straight to the police. Police shot the car up so bad, we jumped out the car. The car crashed into a van. We jumped out running. Police jumped out shooting. At least 4 of them. Then they chased her down and beat the fuck out of us. Look at all those shell casings. Boy, I'm lucky to be alive. Real talk. And for all that bullshit, them folks made me do 21 years and 9 months straight. Yep. That night on Roosevelt Road was my last night free. You know, people ask me all the time, man. My first 5 years in prison was insane. I was at Breakfast Unit, a.k.a. the Death House, known for its death and suicide rate, 3 hours from Pine Bluff. I stayed in some trouble. It was 1997. I was 21 years old with a 111-year sentence. My parole date was 2022. My mother had died a year earlier, and my family had thought I went crazy. I was a walking time bomb and a crash dummy for the nation. When they needed that business handled, I was the one they sent. I stayed in the hole. I really wanted to die because I felt like I had lost everything. I created a lot of enemies and was even stabbed in my sleep one night because someone had placed a hit on my head. I stayed in so much trouble that my family would come down to visit me, but I would be in the hole. Writing music and reading books is what kept me sane during this period of my incarceration, and this went on for 5 years. During my last year at Bricky's, I got tired of the foolishness and ran to God. I needed help. So I started praying more and started educating myself and got my GED. It was 2001 and my parole date was 2022. Then, out of nowhere, one of my biggest blessings came. I was transferred back to Varner Unit, the Gladiator School. Being that Varner was 30 minutes away from Pine Bluff, I started getting visits from family again, and we started working on my freedom. A lawyer recommended that I file clemency due to the fact that I had all my time stacked consecutive for the petty charges that I had. 111 years was a big sentence for escaping and stealing cars, and the guards was the one that initiated the fight, which turned into a battery charge, which was 20 years. We already knew that 30 years was a lot for a burglary charge. Since I had nothing but trouble in my prison file, I decided to take advantage of every opportunity Varner had to offer, and I did. I was on my 8th year in prison, and I wanted to be free, so I went to college, Votech. I became a mentor and started teaching classes. I joined the JC's organization and became a chaplain. I was able to invite my family to see me, to give the word, and be so deeply involved in the church. I felt like God was about to set me free. I talked to God so much in those days. I really was close to Him. I learned and studied the Bible daily for like 2 years. In 2004, I filed clemency and went in front of the clemency board. The clemency board voted with merit and wanted to commute my sentence to 32 years. So they sent their vote to Governor Huckabee. Huckabee voted no action, which means he wasn't saying yes or no, and he wanted me to reapply. So I immediately reapplied, and 5 months later, I went in front of the board, and the board voted no merit. I was devastated, all the work I had put in. And it was the denial of the clemency that caused me to go back to my old ways. In 2005, I was a laundry clerk and had access to the whole prison. To the prison administration and to the good prison guards, I was a role model inmate. But to the bad prison guards and the prison population, I was the slickest prisoner they had ever seen. I was selling dope and getting it in through the church with my chaplain title. I was buying sex from the female guards, and I bought the sex to keep from having to be in a relationship with them. I already had my supervisor in love. In 2006 and 2007, I had my own work computer in the laundry, with me being a clerk, which is like the secretary. I had my sister sneak in a bunch of music software and I put it on my computer. I turned the laundry into a studio. I made mixtape after mixtape and I tried to put out music. I wanted to start my own label then, right from prison. Where I'm from, niggas die like so quick. Don't really give a fuck about your shit. In my neighborhood, niggas don't gang bang. We all gang up on the really ain't the same thing. Niggas shooting dice on the corner of the block. 6 feet from the street, this is those spot. Young niggas in the front with the big glocks. Trying to handle up, four run and get shot. Sing say with the look, this Cadillac. Gold double lock grill with the top back. On the set with the I had 1,000 CDs made, but my supervisor burnt them up after she found out that I was messing with another guard. Then I lost my job and started writing books out of boredom. I also filed clemency again, and again, I was denied. In 2008, I was caught with a cell phone and some weed and was sent to Varna Supermax. I was in a cell 24 hours a day. The size of my cell was the size of a bathroom. I broke down to God and begged for help. I was tired and really wanted to give up. I told God that I would share my story with the world if He only would just set me free. I started practicing my testimony inside my cell. I kept writing books and kept writing music to keep me sane until I was released in 2009 back into the Varna population. In 2010, I was back hustling and had accepted the fact that I might die in prison. I was through messing with the prison guards and started having free world girlfriends. My parole date was 2021, 10 years away. On February 14, 2010, Valentine's Day, I met Nyree. I was talking to her brother on the phone, which is another gangster, and I was trying to buy a sack of weed, and he had her on the phone. 44 days after talking with her on my illegal cell phone, even before I had seen her in person, I left a 2-year relationship. I called the girl that I was with and told her the honest truth, told her about Nyree, told her I felt that God was telling me something. 2 months after that, I was transferred to Commons Unit. I felt like God was telling me that Nyree was the one to keep her, and I did. I placed her face on my chest as a covenant with God. In 2011, me and Nyree grew a lot. We talked every day on my illegal cell phone, wrote letters every day, and she came to see me every Saturday or Sunday. We worked hard on her clemency and was granted a hearing. This would be my third clemency, and we worked real hard on it, and Nyree got us a hearing. In May 2011, I went in front of the parole board for clemency, and Nyree had half my family there and half her family there. Though the board did agree that I had an excessive sentence for the charges that I had, they still voted without merit and voted no. And of course, the governor rode with his board. In 2012, I was back hustling, sending all my money home to Nyree. The money was so good that she quit her job and decided to put a book out. I taught her the format and how to keep a plot alive, and she self-published her own novel, Close Enemies. I made a bunch of videos while I was at Commons Unit inside my cell and sent them to her. My TE date then was 2018. Nyree came to the unit with a blunt in her truck, and they suspended her from my visitation list. I cussed her ass out about it too, because I had told her about doing it. So Nyree's mama started coming every week, and Nyree's family got on my list, and I still got a visit almost every week. Nyree's mama, her brothers and sisters, her aunt, her grandma, all these folks would come and see me on the strength of Nyree. This family was another sign that God had sent her in my life. So I proposed to her in 2012 and put a ring on her finger. Well, actually 2. And in that same year, as always, someone snitched on me and I was transferred to Tucker Max. A month later, I was caught with a cell phone and I was back in the cell for 23 hours. These was the hardest times for Nyree. I ended up getting caught with another cell phone 5 months later, and that's when the ADC illegally changed my sentence. They called themselves punishing me to the max. They took 11 years worth of good time, in which would have pushed my TE date from 2018 to 2036, but it went to 2039. Now mind you, Nyree nose ass spotted this while she was at work. I had no idea that this was happening. Nyree called central office. The next day I get a time card that said I now had 101 years. The ADC had took 10 years off my sentence with a threatening phone call from Nyree. The prison system hated Nyree. She called about every single thing and would call the governor's office at times. She did not play about her man. Me and her went through a lot while I was at Tucker Max. Here I was again at my lowest point. She couldn't even touch me on visit. Folks was laughing at her on the outside, calling her the biggest fool waiting on a man in prison with a 111-year sentence. I remember so many nights I was sitting just listening to her cry. Many nights we sat and prayed for freedom. I ended up staying on 23-hour lockdown for 17 months. That's 17 months of sitting in the cell writing books and music. I was on my 16th year in prison. Nyree was back on my list illegally, now as my sister, I got off lockdown in 2014 and did a year in population at the max. They hated Nyree so bad that they snatched her off my visiting list because she couldn't prove herself as my sister. They finally transferred me to Malvern Unit and my life completely changed, and I was taking advantage of anything educational. I got back in Votech while working on getting my 11 years of good time back. I also got lucky and caught a scholarship with Shorter College, so I would go to school half a day and Votech the other half. Nyree was still suspended from my visiting list. Nyree constantly stayed on the ADC by my sentence until she finally pointed out the 10-year difference. The ADC didn't acknowledge it, but they did agree that the 11 years of good time was too much for a cell phone and compromised with Nyree. Not me about my sentence, but Nyree. And the parole date was placed at 2018. I couldn't believe it. It was 2016 and my parole date was 2018. And the killing part was, all Nyree did was make a phone call at the right time. Then a blessing fell out the sky. Nyree said that God told her to call the warden and talk to him about her visits. The warden told her to fill out a visitation form and put her back on my list as my friend. 2 months later, we were married. I knew that 2 years would come fast, so I started back hustling, preparing for my freedom. I knew no one would give me nothing when I got out. I wasn't dependent on nobody. I had God and Nyree. I put together a business plan for Magnificent Entertainment. I had my own computer at Votech and was building databases and spreadsheets working with Microsoft Office. I had been doing this stuff for years, and as usual, I wrote a lot of music. College was fun, though I had been to college twice already. I liked all the teachers, though. Malvern Unit administration hated my guts. I was slinging so many QPs of weed through their unit to the point to where they wanted to transfer me but couldn't because I was in college. 2017, I was transferred to Brickens to take a mandatory re-entry class. I think the Malvern Unit's administration celebrated when I left. I woke up on February 21st of 2018, and it was my day to go in front of the parole board. After 21 years and 9 months, it was finally my day. Nyree had both sides of my family there. When the parole board member looked down at my file and seen that I had all that time for those petty charges and had done 21 years, his decision was already made. Nyree nose ass found out first, then I found out. I had made the board. I called Nyree and she was smiling through the phone. I couldn't believe it. I was finally going home. I woke up May 24th, 2018. It was my day to walk out them gates. I had spent 21 years and 9 months behind bars. So much had changed. I called Nyree and her aunt Josephine and my sister Punny. They was all posted up downtown Memphis in the apartment they had rented.
Yes, sir. They gonna look at the mirror.
21 years. 21 and a half. Wait a minute, he said 21 years and 9 months.
Look at your sister. Hey!
Yeah, I got
Hey,
you.
what? I'm here. Smoking. Couldn't wait to get here. Ain't nothing, boy.
Hey, nephew.
I had made the early kickout for good behavior, so the appointed time to leave was 1 p.m. 2 p.m. comes, and I called Nyree. She says that they can't get something right in the system. There was a glitch in my sentence to where the computer kicked me back to 2019. They tell Nyree they will have it fixed by in the morning to come back tomorrow. May 25th, Friday morning. They tell Nyree it's fixed to come and get me. When she gets to the unit, they say the problem isn't resolved. I can't leave. Nyree had to hold her phone out the window to get a signal and called the governor. 10 minutes later, I was walking out them gates. Hey, gangsta. Y'all niggas hit them horns. Salute a real G when you see me, nigga. It's my second coming. Right. Let's go. Nigga, this my second coming. I've been chasing this paper, been running. I've been dodging these haters and dummies. I cannot wait to link up with money. That's the Florida where the sun is. And the look on their face would be funny. It's the bank up to count up my money. It's the bank up to count up my money. Nigga, this my second coming. I came and I saw and I conquered this bitch. Did not come for no hating, no envy, no drama, my nigga. I come to get rich.
Good. Amen.
Together.
Babe, just had his first dinner. We riding in the car. Riding in the car. And my phone goes to ringing. Hold on a second.
You might can tell them niggas scared, guys. Go tell them.
Oh wow, sound well, you know what I mean. It could have been my boyfriend.
You know where you going, Funny? I know you to the left. Mm-hmm.
What's up with it? Just left eating.
Auntie, say hi. Hello.
All
right now.
All the real niggas feel a nigga.
Hey.
And it's funny how they kill a nigga. I say,
We'll be back.
Case, nigga.
We left Brickers and went straight to Memphis to a downtown apartment. That same night, I partied on Beale Street. I thanked God and cried tears of joy all night long. Here I was on Beale Street after 21 long, hard years. But I want to take you back for a second. Did you ever wonder what was in the sack? What I would be walking out with after so much time? I told you I hustled my last 2 years and prepared for my freedom. And Nyree had all the money. So I walked out with a business plan for Magnificent Entertainment and a 20-year catalog of my music that I had written over the years. Thousands of songs. Me and Nyree went on a hashtag on the run tour, hashtag Bunny and Clyde-ish, like a little road trip. We was best friends. She had waited 8 years on me, and we was gonna shine on all the folks that laughed at her, called her stupid for waiting on a nigga with 100 years. 5 years passed, and you still waiting on that nigga? People were still laughing at her because she was still telling people that God had her on a mission. Now 8 years have passed, and you still waiting, and boom, I get out. Lord have mercy. And the last year has been a blur. And it was amazing to be around my real family again. My brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews. They had all grown up. 21 years had passed. But they was in their 20s now. Nyree's family welcomed me with open arms. Everybody already knew who I was and knew for a fact that our love was real. Her family had her back for those 8 years, just like my sister Rapunzel had my back for the last 21. Nyree's friend Sharon became my sister for real. She done been to Vegas with me and everything for my birthday. I registered Magnificent Entertainment and signed myself. I built my own studio, started making my own music, and while traveling I shot my own videos. I taught Nyree how to hold a camera. Creativity would get you farther than anything. In 7 months, I had dropped 30 videos on YouTube. I also made this documentary and the soundtrack to it. I had wrote 10 books in prison and had plans for those. I worked hard on my company while getting adjusted to freedom and being a devoted husband. God had created us from nothing. Nyree was unemployed and messing with a married man when I met her. I was in prison with 100 years. We both trusted God. Remember, I put her face on my chest in 2010. On my 10th month out, me and Nyree moved in our first house, custom built to our design. But I had an inside joke between me and God. I told him, I said, God, watch. A lot of people gonna miss the message because of the messenger. And God said, well, hey, I set you free to be a bright light. So your job is to drive the bus. It don't matter who get on the bus or who get off. Your job is to drive the bus. I told God, most definitely. Nyree had a cousin who stayed in Texas named Alicia. We had a party here for Nyree's mom, and I made a video comedy of it. Alicia liked it so much that she plugged me in with a producer in LA, in which will be a video shoot for this soundtrack. I take advantage of my every move. If you don't get nothing else out my story, I just want you to see that God is real, my guy. God done all this for me. Don't miss the message because of the messenger. God's the truth and I'm the proof. As for me, I'm living life. I got a brand new house, brand new wife, and money in the bank. I have what most of all the successful rappers are working hard for. But God has already shown me success. He just wants me to love my wife because he sent her and be a bright light to the world in my very own unique way. My second coming. True story. Second coming. Mixtape. What's one thing a nigga cannot tell me? And that's something about God. For real.
What you cooking? Diplomat in the cut, yeah.
God's good. He always been good. And tell me that my God is the truth. And tell me that my God is the truth. That's the truth. That's the only thing I spit up in the booth. No cap, homie, I'm the living proof. 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 Was supposed to die off in prison, needed help making decisions. No one there to see my vision. Whoa. Many nights I cried off in prison. God was trying to show me something, but I couldn't pay attention. Whoa. Living life based on my opinions. Looking back, God was never the beginning. Doing time and the clock was steady spinning. In the pen, but a nigga still sinning. Had to get some money. It was 2010 and it seemed like the end, cause I didn't have no friends. On the inside, hiding all my ends. Looking out, watching all the trends. In the pen with a 100-year sentence all alone. Sneaking on the covers with an illegal phone. Fucked around and met Nari and my whole life had changed. Recognized her mind, knew she wouldn't play no games. Fucked around and seen that she had a lot of hustle. 2010, we officially a couple. Ever since I met this woman, I've been on the rise. Stayed by my side when the governor denied the clemency. We sat on the phone and we cried. Pulled out her heart, said she was tired. Damn, that hurt my pride. But she said she would ride. That made me realize I had a winner. So in 2012, I put some carrots on her finger. Couldn't marry then, she suspended from my list. On my list as my sister, so we had to get legit. 2015, she still riding like a G. And every visitation, I was giving her a G. Killing part is that she said every penny. And she didn't tell nobody none of her business. 2018, had to fight for my parole. My baby had my back, she was fighting for my soul. She said, devil, use a motherfucking lie, but I recognize the pain in my eyes. Man, God is incredible. Nigga, I'm shedding tears. Woo. And you see I'm free, don't you? Tell me. And tell me that my God is true. Ain't the truth. And tell me that my God is true. Ain't the truth. That's the only thing I spit up in the booth. No cap, homie, I'm the living proof. 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 Gangsta. And if they ask you who I am, tell them I'm the 1985 Michael Jackson. You can't tell me I ain't fresh. But you can't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't fresh. But you can't tell me I ain't fresh. 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 My middle man should be mannequin. I do not play no shenanigans. I feel so good on the mannequin. Now I'm too hot, need a mannequin. My wife I saw Jenny Aniston. I be a star more like in the sky. Most of these niggas is living lies. I tell the truth, I ain't finna lie. I was locked up for the longest time. I was real young and just dumb and blind. Doing dumb shit can become a crime. And being a dumb, it becomes your mind. Back to my point, I be fresh as hell. Fresh out of jail, boy, I'm fresh as hell. Some of these niggas be telling tales. Need to come up with some better tales. I mix my Fender with Gucci or Puma. Gucci or Puma don't mix with Adidas. Look at your girl looking like a fajita. Give me a minute, I'm Michael and Greta. Never mind her, now I'm back on my sauce. Living the life as a G and a boss. Buy my nigga no matter the cost. I'm the nigga for taking applause. You can't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't fresh.
can't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't fresh. You can't tell me I ain't fresh.
What? Talking my shit, don't give a fuck, nigga, what? One of my niggas that died in my arms. Smoking this spree really keeping me calm. Seeking for knowledge and look up in Psalms. Living my life like it just has begun. Yes, I change paper from drama I run. Know how I feel to be lonely and numb. Miserable people make others feel dumb. 20 years now, rest in love to my moms. Love me, my father, and I be his son. He say, boy, I need you to go shine like the sun. Need you to stay focused until the job done. You already a legend like Pepsi and Bun. Live in the house, had to water my lawn. Chillin' with wife, I consider fun. Me and my cousin, we just bought some houses, cause we be living